Hello, my name's Jan Canton. I'm a personal and professional development coach. My role is assisting people to discover and embrace their greatness. So when I think about leadership, I'm inclined to put the word self in front of it. Self-leadership. We are all leaders in our own right. So often we think of leaders out there, but in actual fact we've got all the ingredients in here. As human beings, we have thoughts, we have feelings, we have behaviours, we have emotions that are all making up the skills and the qualities of leaders. So often, we might be a leader in one role, but forget to take those qualities with us to the next role. So we might be marvellous parents or people in our home life and natural leaders, and forget to actually demonstrate those within our work role. So let's look at them and let's check in to see which ones you might have, or ones that you may have had and you've forgotten that you had, or ones that you've now let go. And if you want to have them back, by recognising them and knowing about them, we can do that together. Leadership skills incorporate connecting, empathy, trust. Do you have these things? It's about giving yourself permission to be leaders. Because if we're not a leader within our own right, how can we be a leader to others? So let's stride out and have a look together at some other qualities of leaders. Curiosity. Are you curious? Focus and direction. Do you display those? Wit, humour, fun. Do you display those? Are you recognising things about yourself within these leadership qualities? Do you understand now why I refer to them as self-leadership? All change happens from the inside out. Do you have an ability to try things in a new and different way? I bet you do. And if you do, then what you are doing is displaying leadership skills. Acknowledge it. Recognise them. Enjoy it. Embrace them. Sometimes all we need is an awareness of the things that we've got. It's also important to be flexible, because great leaders have an ability to be flexible. They have an ability to ask questions. More importantly, they also have the ability to listen. How often do you ask questions and then listen and give that person the time of day to respond in a respectful way? Respect is also an important leadership skill. Respect of self, respect of others, and the ability to be response-able. And I have said it in that way. Response-able, able to respond to anything that comes our way. Being accountable, taking ownership, are also qualities of a leader. Do you take ownership? Are you willing to be response-able? Are you willing to be accountable? Are you willing to actually make mistakes? And when we think of mistakes, and we might get a little bit worried about mistakes, let's step back from that for a moment and make them just a mistake. Because if we have a mistake and we learn from it, that is wonderful leadership qualities. A leader is also vulnerable and willing to show that vulnerability. And when we do these things, we can then step into our own confidence. Sometimes our confidence was removed when we were a child, or as an adult, something unresourceful happened, and it might have shattered some of the confidence that we now have or don't have. Tolerance is also an important quality in self-leadership. And just having the willingness to actually speak our truth and be respectful. Because when we show our truth and our willingness and have an awareness of all of these things and display a sense of humour, all of these qualities of what make great leaders. And if you have all of these qualities, then you are displaying leadership skills. Change happens from the inside out. We will make our own reality, and we are either creating or reacting. When we're creating, we're actually stepping out and stepping forward. When we're reacting, we're staying stuck. And that reminds me of a little story about a caterpillar. A caterpillar was on a branch and he was as happy and as content as could be. He had no stress, he had no concerns whatsoever. As the caterpillar, he turned into a chrysalis, and from the chrysalis he became a butterfly. And he left the branch, and as he did, he suddenly realised something. If he had stayed on that branch, he would have had no clue what he was missing out on. As a butterfly, he was extending and expanding. He was discovering and embracing lots of other things belonging to leadership skills. It was a bit frightening, but it was an okay kind of fear. Sometimes our fear stops us from getting started, and I'd like to share an acronym with you on fear. False evidence appearing real. Fear is just an emotion. As humans, we all have it. Sometimes it's an essential one and it's an important one to have. But when it stops us from actually demonstrating our leadership skills, it's an unresourceful emotion. And I'd like to share a poem with you. It was actually written by a woman called Marianne Williamson, and it was used by a great leader, Nelson Mandela, in his inaugural speech. Nelson Mandela recognised how often fear can stop us from getting started. Our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. It is our light, not our darkness, that most frightens us. We ask ourselves, who am I to be brilliant, gorgeous, talented and fabulous? Actually, who are you not to be? You are a child of God. Your playing small doesn't serve the world. There's nothing enlightened about shrinking so that other people won't feel insecure around you. We were born to manifest the glory of God that is within you. It is not just in some of us, it is in everyone. We are all meant to shine, as children do. And as we let our own light shine, we unconsciously give other people permission to do the same. As we are liberated from our own fear, our presence automatically liberates others. If you would like a copy of that, please email me and I'll be happy to send it to you. As children, we automatically shone. As adults, we start losing some of that gloss sometimes. Something happens or many things happen and we forget or we close down or we don't want to show our vulnerability. And so we start covering ourselves with things. I'd like to share a story with you. It's a true story. And it happened in 1957 when some monks that were moving from a monastery were moving their Buddha. And it was a dull-looking Buddha, quite a big Buddha as well. And as they picked it up, they were moving it, suddenly a crack appeared. Concerned that they might be damaging their Buddha, they decided just to rest and go back the next day. That evening, one of the monks just went back with a torch just to check out the Buddha to make sure it was all right. And as he shone his light around, suddenly something glistened and shone back at him. Curious, he went and got a chisel and a hammer and he started chiseling away. Within an hour, as he stood back, what was revealed was a golden Buddha. Historians say that several hundred years earlier, the Burmese army were preparing to attack the monastery. And so the monks at that time decided to protect their golden Buddha, and they covered it with mud. As children, we shine our light, and we do it without any worries whatsoever. And as we become adults, sometimes we have to give ourselves permission to start removing the mud that is on us. Self-leadership is about giving yourself permission to remove the mud, to shine, and to be who you are. Enjoy embracing and discovering yourself. Enjoy discovering your own leadership skills and your style, and enjoy being the person that you were born to be. Thank you.